Friends, welcome back. So, in continuation, let us see the entrepreneurial capabilities in the agriculture sector. In the previous session, we discussed entrepreneurship across the regions. Here, we are going to discuss entrepreneurship across the agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, services sector, and infrastructure sector. Right? So let us see entrepreneurial capabilities in the agriculture sector. Number one, entrepreneurship are not geographically localized and seem to be distributed evenly across most districts. So this is a very good thing. That means there is a balanced regional development, which is very good, because it will provide equal opportunities to the people. The distribution of income will be equal and it will spread the prosperity across the country. Number two, states. So this is the factual information. States in the highest quintile, that is at the top of relative entrepreneurial activity are: number 1 Manipur, number 2 Meghalaya, number 3 Madhya Pradesh, number 4 Assam, number 5 Tripura, and number 6 Odisha. Now you might ask a question, sir, do I need to remember all these names? My answer is no. You can just observe that out of total 6 districts, 4 of the districts belongs to the northeast: Manipur, Meghalaya, Assam, and Tripura. So the northeast states, they are doing good in the agriculture. There is one more thing to notice, is that in the northeast districts, most of the establishment are in the private enterprises and they are working in the food business, such as organic produce farms. So this organic farming is one of the important aspect in the northeast states. And tea plantations, while a majority of the establishments in the Madhya Pradesh and Odisha, that is the central India and the East India, are FPOs, farmer producer organizations, designed as hybrids between cooperative societies and private limited companies that organize farmers into a collective to improve their bargaining strength in the market. So we need to understand the concept of FPO, farmer producer organization, right? And along with that, we will also make a little summary of the sector wise entrepreneurial capability. So in the agriculture sector, in the manufacturing sector, so my request is you note it down in your notebook also. In the services sector, in the infrastructure sector, so we will write the important points. From the agriculture sector, so most of the districts are from the northeast, or we have MP and Odisha. In the northeast, most of the firms are in the organic food business. And in the MP and Odisha, most of the organizations are working with the help of concept of FPO, farmer producer organization. Now we will see little bit about the farmer producer organization. So before we discuss the concept of FPO, let me tell you there are two concepts. One is private limited company, another is cooperative societies. Private limited companies, they are registered under the Companies Act 2013 and they have minimum 2 shareholders, and then there is a upper limit also. Shareholders put their capital they start their business. And why we call this private limited? Why we call it private? Because the ownership is restricted to very limited number of people. Why we call it limited? Because the liability or obligation of this enterprise is limited to the capital this enterprise is having. So if there is some loss in this company, then the owners of this company do not need to bear that loss by giving the money from their pocket. At the max, their capital which they have invested into the company, that capital will get lost, right? So the maximum loss they can have is equal to the capital that they have invested. That is why this is called private limited. Now, for the farmers, this type of organization is very difficult. This type of organization leads to many compliances. So the person who is running a private limited company, the shareholders, the directors, they have to file their regular returns. They have to manage different compliances, corporate compliances. The cost of compliance is very high and the rules are very difficult. So this becomes unviable for the farmers. Coming to the cooperative societies, these cooperative societies are registered at the state level as per the state cooperative society laws. Now these cooperative society laws, again, they are complicated. And even if they are not complicated, but there is a secrecy, there is no transparency. In case of private limited company, there is transparency, but in the cooperative societies, there is no transparency in the regulation, or the transparency is very, very low, right? So the people do not trust the cooperative societies as much as they trust the enterprises which are registered into the Companies Act, right? So in the cooperative societies, we have the concept of members. So every person who is a member will have equal vote and is entitled to all the services of the cooperatives. So in the cooperative societies, the limitation is that the regulation is loose and there is secrecy. So as a middle way between the private limited company and the cooperative society, the concept of farmer producer organizations or farmer producer companies, O4 organization and C4 companies, this concept has been introduced. So these FPOs, they are registered under the Companies Act only, under the Companies Act, and the compliance requirements are comparatively less. So they have a lot of relaxation in the compliances. So this is the legal part. Coming to the operational part, how do farmer producer organizations, how do they work? So the name itself says farmers producers organizations. So producer means they are majorly the producer of farm goods. So if we see in the agriculture sector, in the cultivation sector, what are the primary activities? The primary activities are input, then So primary activities are input, cultivation, after the cultivation, cultivation, after the cultivation, the goods, either they can be stored, they can be processed further, or they can be sold directly into the market, or all of them. Input, they can be in the form of seeds, fertilizers, finance. Cultivation activity, for this we need the cooperation in terms of information, the systems and methods, methodologies, traditions, practices, experience, knowledge, and then we need the infrastructure for the post harvest, that is the storage, processing and marketing facilities, right? So pre-harvest and post-harvest, both kind of infrastructure are required. Now all these activities are part of the cultivation sector. When these activities are performed by a single farmer, it is very, very difficult. First of all, there is high cost. Secondly, it is very, very difficult to go through all the level of activities single-handedly. So these farmer producer organizations, they act as a platform where the multiple farmers, they come together and they pool their experience, their finance, their knowledge, their skills, their social network, and they work together. So someone is expert in input, someone is expert in cultivation, someone is expert in the post-harvest management. So they bring the synergetic capabilities together, and that is how this farmer producer organization, it is very, very much successful in the states of Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. So now you can understand this statement. So please read this statement number 3 carefully again. You will get more clarity. Now you can see this image. Farmers can form a group in a village or cluster of villages and apply for FPO registration under the Relative Companies Act. Benefits of FPO: number 1, members of FPO will have better bargaining power and they can buy or sell commodities at competitive prices. So when people are united, their bargaining power increases and they can buy and they can sell the commodities at the competitive prices. Number 2, aggregation of agricultural produce for better marketing opportunities. For value addition and higher prices, FPOs shall take up activities like sorting, grading, packaging, basic processing. So all these are the post-harvest activities. FPO formation facilitates utilization for pre and post-harvest infrastructure like greenhouses, mechanized farming, cold storage, and agri-processing, etc. So these pre and post-harvest facilities are also utilized. FPOs can expand the business by setting up input stores. So they can also involve into the businesses like input stores, custom centers, and facilitate subsidized inputs and the services to the members. So they bring the capabilities of synergy together. They bring the economies of scale together. So in totality, you can see there are 4 basic level of activity which can be performed by FPO. One is the input supply in the form of seed, fertilizer, machinery. Number 2, the financial and technical, which include credit, savings, insurance, extension. Third, marketing linkages, which include contract farming and procurement under the MSP. Number 4, the training and networking, which include human resource development, policy advocacy, documentation, etc. Now, coming to the manufacturing sector. So, before we discuss this manufacturing sector, let us understand one more concept, which is agglomeration economy. This agglomeration economy says that, suppose this is a particular region, this is a specific region. For example, we talk about this is the region of Delhi NCR, and inside the Delhi NCR, this is one of the very particular area. For example, say Gurugram, right? So here you will find different industries. This is industry A, this is industry B, this is industry C, industry E, industry F, and so on and so forth. To support these industries, there are small industries. There are labor supply agencies. The government has opened its centers, sales tax office, income tax office, electricity department, compliance department. So you can see that there is an ecosystem which has been developed. These small companies, they will be supporting the big companies. These big companies, they will be supported by the government departments. They will get the labor supply, and not only this, but they will also be getting the services of the marketing agencies, of the transportation agencies. So they can move the goods outside with the help of transportation agencies. So they will have everything. They will have labor, they will have finance, they will have entrepreneurs, infrastructure. Everything is available very easily. So this agglomeration economy, it is very useful to develop the manufacturing sector in any area, right? So it will help the manufacturing sector to grow in a particular area. Now coming to the economic survey. Entrepreneurial activity in the manufacturing sector. Number 1, it is highest in the regions of Gujarat, Meghalaya, Puducherry, Punjab and Rajasthan. Number 2, the nature of establishments in each of these regions attests to agglomeration economies, that is incumbent industrial structure for input and output market. So we saw that there are small industries which are acting as an input place, and specialized labor in a region are strongly linked to the higher entrepreneurial activity in that industrial region. Agglomeration economies are the benefits that come when firms and people locate one another together. So the firms and people, they are located together in the cities and industrial clusters. These benefits all ultimately come from the transportation cost saving, right? So major benefits come from the transport cost saving and the economies of scale, right? So first is which are the highest region. Second is the nature of the establishments is mostly in the agglomeration economies. And third, the ease of doing business is required. So flexible labor laws, for example, in the Gujarat and Punjab and Rajasthan. So Gujarat, Punjab and Rajasthan, in these states there are flexible labor laws, and most of the firms are found in these regions. And these regions you can see over here, the Gujarat, the Punjab and Rajasthan. These are the highest manufacturing concentration sectors, the states, right? So this flexible labor regulation, this allows the states to have more manufacturing activity. In the previous year economic survey, the importance of flexible labor regulation was identified, and here also we can see that flexible labor regulation actually works. Next, entrepreneurial activity in the services sector. So you can find the states of Delhi, Mizoram, UP, Kerala, Andaman Nicobar, Haryana. Again, you do not need to remember the names. The nature of establishments in these regions is not reflective of agglomeration economies. It spans diverse industries. So which industries are there? Trading, financial services, tourism, hospitality, retailing, and even religious leagues and mission, right? So if we come back to our synopsis that we are making, in the manufacturing sector, we can write two words: agglomeration economy and ease of doing business, which include flexible laws with respect to the labor, flexible labor laws. In the service sector, there is no particular observation. Coming to the infrastructure sector. In the infrastructure sector, the infrastructure sector, those states which are having weak infrastructure, they are doing very well in terms of infrastructure. So let us see. Entrepreneurial activity in the infrastructure sector. It is highest in the states of Jharkhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Jammu and Kashmir and Bihar. And these are the states which are characterized by the poor levels of existing infrastructure. So when existing infrastructure is poor, then only the need for more infrastructure arises. The nature of activity is largely engaged in. So what kind of infrastructure activity we can see? Construction work, logistics and transport work, utilities generation, that is electricity, gas, etc., transmission and distribution, alternative energy distribution like solar energy, wind energy, and infrastructure technology. Now, what are the important drivers of the entrepreneurial activity? So there are two major drivers: the social infrastructure and the physical infrastructure.